Hello everyone! On behalf of Rainbow Loom, this is Angelynn, formerly known as TutorialsByA here on YouTube. Today I'll be showing you how to create this reversible snake charmer bracelet. So here's the front, which I think looks super cool, and here is the back, which I think looks just as cool, especially if you do this multicolored pattern here. Like on this one where I did two colors, it's just the same color over and over again, but this I think looks so cool, and I'm so excited to show you how to create this bracelet. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to create the 2-loom version of this because I'll be using Rainbow Loom's Duo Combo Kit. So this here is the 2-loom version, and as you can see here, it still requires an extension as the 1-loom version does. So we'll be doing the same processes with the 2 looms as you would with a 1-loom. So if you only have 1 loom, I'll be showing you the same steps that you'll need to do to create this bracelet on 1 loom. The most important parts for everyone to know whether you're using 1 or 2 looms is how to start placing bands down on your loom and how to finish putting the bands down on your loom. The middle part here is the same process repeated over and over again, so for the 2-loom version you would just be doing this for a longer time than on the 1-loom version since it's shorter here. So after we do all of that, then we'll add an extension on, which is also the same process whether you're using 1 or 2 looms. You'll just be placing more bands on if you're using 1 loom. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and now without further ado, let's get started. Today I'll be using my Rainbow Loom Duo Combo Kit. This is from the Jewel collection, and I especially love this kit because it comes with 2 looms, which I'll be using both today. As I mentioned in the beginning, this tutorial can also be followed if you are using 1 loom. The steps will be about the same. It's just for me and my 2 looms, I'll be repeating the repetitive portion of this bracelet for longer since I've got a longer bit of it here with 2 looms. But if you've got 1, the repetitive portion will only be this long for you. So we'll have the same steps for the beginning, the end, and for the extension, and I'm sure that you'll be able to follow with just 1 loom as well. In addition to these 2 looms, you'll also need a hook. I'll be using my metal tipped hook that comes with this kit, as well as the rubber bands and a C-clip. A G-clip would work for this as well. For rubber band counts, they're different for the 1 and 2 loom versions of this bracelet, so please see the screen here to know how many rubber bands that you'll need. So to start, I'm going to connect my 2 looms together. So I'll put one end that has this curve outwards with the other end of the other loom that has this curve inwards. And I'll take this piece, slide it on top here, and push down to secure. And now we've attached our 2 looms together. So whether you're using 1 or 2 looms, our bracelets will start and end the same. I'm going to be alternating between black and my colors for this bracelet. So I'm going to start with my first color. For me, it's going to be black, and taking 1 band at a time for this entirety of this bracelet, I'm going to place this first one onto this bottom center pin and just drop it on there like that, and this will help us close up our bracelet later. Next, I'm going to take 1 band and place it from this bottom center pin up to the left, and then we'll do the same thing on the right side. Now with my next color, I'm going to use blue, and I'm going to go inwards from this left pin to the center. And then we'll do the same thing on the right side. So we have this little diamond shape here. Now I'm going to take a second to push these down. Just to make this easier when I'm naming my rubber bands, I'll just call this black and these will be my colors. So we'll say that black is not a color for this. So I'm going to take my next color and place this on the bottom left up to this center pin up there. So not the same one that these other blue ones are on, but the pin above it. So we have this exaggerated diagonal. And then I'll do the same thing to the other side. And now going back to my black, I'm going to make a V shape with this. So for my black, these will always be V-shaped rubber bands for when we're placing them on. So I'll make a V shape like this. And this is an exaggerated diagonal, like that. So take a moment and make sure that your bands look exactly like how mine do right here. And then we'll continue our pattern. So taking my next color, we'll put this down on this second pin from the bottom, and I'll call this my arrow band. So I've got my colored arrow band on the left and the right, and you'll see that this parallels this dark blue right here. Now back to my black, and we're gonna make a V shape, which parallels the other black down here. Then we'll do another set of arrow bands. And this is the pattern that we will continue to repeat throughout our loom. So another V shape, Then back to my colored arrow. Then I'm going to go do another black V shape. Then a colored arrow again. Then an arrow again. So hopefully now you're starting to pick up on the pattern in which we're placing the rubber bands. Basically, we're going to go back and forth between the black V shape and the colored arrow. And whether you're doing 1 or 2 looms for this design, this is what you'll repeat. And then towards the end of my loom, I'll show you how we're finishing this off, because it is a little bit different than just doing this pattern all the way down. So here I am nearing the end of my loom, and I just wanted to emphasize the importance of making sure that your loom looks like how mine is. So really make sure that you're placing your bands on in the same way. So like, what is my next one here? This light pink one. This light pink arrow starts at the very top of where this last black V-shaped band is, and then this next black V-shaped band will have the left side start at this next empty pin above. And then same on the right side. So here I am reaching the end. I'm going to place that last set of the colored bands as far up as I can do it, and then the last set of my black bands as far up as I can do it. Now once you've reached this point and your loom looks like this, at the very top, the last bands you should have placed are this left black and then this right black, or whatever bands you have here for your V shape. I'm going to take my same V-shaped color and I'm going to do another V shape, but at this next pin above in the center, and make a less exaggerated V shape. Like this. So you'll see that these black bands go into the same pins as the exaggerated V that's right below it. Then I'll take my blue band here, one of my blue bands, one of my colors, and do another arrow, but a less exaggerated arrow in, like that. And then another less exaggerated arrow on the other side, like that. So I may have miscounted how many black bands I needed, so I'll take those 2 away. Before we add our last band on, which is the cap band, I'm going to go over what my loom looks like. So here it is, and the most important part, especially if you're doing 1 loom instead, is to make sure that your end and beginning of your loom look just like mine, and that the repetitive part looks like an even repetitive pattern throughout the loom and not like you mixed up the order at any point. So once you make sure that your loom looks like this, we'll rotate 180 degrees now to where our pins are in an upside down U configuration, and then I have this arrow here at the bottom that says the number 2. Now to add your cap band on, there's 2 ways you can do this. The first way is by taking your 1 single band, wrap this around the bottom center pin, twist, and then put it back on again so you have a doubled over band. Another way that you can do this is with the end of this metal tipped hook here. You'll just wrap around once, twist, and then over again so it's doubled over. Place the end of this hook onto the whatever pin that you want to add it on. So for me, it's the bottom center. Put this on and slide this cap band down. And then we've transferred our cap band onto that bottom center pin. So at this point, we are now ready to start looming. And it's the same thing as when we placed our bands on earlier. So if you have 1 loom, we'll start the same and end the same, and then you'll just do the center repetitive portion for a little bit less time than those who are doing with 2 looms like me. Now we're going to switch the names of the bands that we added. So originally I called my black bands my V-shaped bands and my colored bands my arrow bands. We are going to reverse that now. So as you can see now, my colored bands are the V-shaped ones and the black ones are the arrow ones. So now when I refer to an arrow band, it's going to be my black, and when I refer to a V-shaped band, it's going to be the colors, since that's how they're oriented now that we've turned our loom upside down. So inserting my hook into this bottom center pin, I'm going in through the top 2 layers and pushing them back with the back of my hook I'm gonna grab that third layer, which is this colored V-shaped band that's going to the left. And hold on to your cap band if it's falling off. And I'm moving this over to the left like that. So you should have something like this. Now we'll do the same thing to the other side, in through the top 2 layers and grabbing the next one, which is this blue V-shaped band going to the right. The cap band fell off a little, so I'll put it back on. Our next bands will be these 2 black bands here that are making an arrow, but not as extreme of an angle. So this section here, I'll go in through my left pin, grab this black band, and loom this into the center pin here. We'll do the same thing on the right side, going in through the top 2 layers, grabbing that third one, which is black, and moving it into the center like that. Now we'll start to establish our pattern that will repeat throughout the loom for this looming process. So we're going to start with our V-shaped band. So you'll do your V-shaped band, pick up the left one, and move this up to the left to fold this band in half basically. And then the same thing on the right. Then we'll do our arrow bands on the left side and the right side. Then we'll do our V-shaped band again. So remember that you don't go up to here to do these V-shaped bands. We're gonna have to go backwards one to grab our next set of V-shaped bands. The best way that I like to do it is to look at my loom and see what is at the very bottom, because we usually always loom from the bottom to the top of the loom. So even though I ended right here, I'm gonna have to go backwards one set of pins to start on this arrow band down here. So make sure you're moving backwards, because if you happen to skip one, then you'll lose your work when you remove this from the loom. So I'm going backwards one, we'll do the V-shaped band here. Make sure you're just grabbing whatever top layer. Then an arrow band again, on the left and the right. Move back one to do your V-shaped band. And move back one to do your arrow bands. Then we'll move back one to do our V-shaped band. On the left first and then the right. And then we'll go up to do, or back to do this arrow one going upwards. And then the V-shaped one again. So we'll just be going back and forth. And every now and then I like to look back to check and make sure that I have loomed everything so far. So that way I don't lose any of my work later when I pull this off of the loom. So this is the pattern that we're going to repeat throughout the rest of our loom, whether you're doing 1 or 2 looms. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue looming, and then I'll meet you back here when I'm reaching the end of my loom to show you how to close this bracelet off. Alright, so I'm nearing the end of my loom, and what I love about this bracelet is that compared to some of the other more complex designs, it doesn't take too long to loom this one. So here's what I'm doing as I'm reaching the top. Done that arrow band here, that's second from the top, of the exaggerated ones at least. And then down here, I'm gonna go down here and grab this V-shaped band, go to the left, same thing on the right. Then the last set of the normal arrow bands here that are black for me is up to the left and then the right. So you can kind of continue looming as normal all the way to the top, and then now once you only have these less exaggerated bands going diagonally that are left, this little diamond shape, now's when we'll start doing this V shape first. And then our last bands that we'll do are the arrow bands up here. Got little bit. Grab the wrong one. I was looking at my camera instead of my loom. Okay. So the very last bands that you'll be looming are the diamond shape right here. Everything else should have been loomed. Then you do the little diamond with the bottom first and then the top. And now your loom should look something like this. And if you have two looms, it's normal for it to kind of bow a little bit just because of the tension of the rubber bands on the loom. And don't worry, because they're designed to be like this. So now at this point, we are ready to remove our bracelet off of the loom. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to use this loose band here that we had at the bottom, at the top, or at the bottom of our topmost pin on our loom. And I'm going to take my hook and go inside all of these bands here. They're at this topmost pin. Make sure you're going through all of them, otherwise you'll lose your work later on. So I've gone through all of them. I'm gonna grab this loose band with my left hand here, hold it here, and then with my hook in my right hand, I'm gonna reach down through all these layers here and grab this loose band at the bottom. So once I grab that, I'm gonna pull it up here. You can kind of remove this from the pin like that. And then I'm gonna take that end that's in my left hand and add it onto the hook. So now we've added a single chain band at the end of our bracelet that holds all of the bands here. So this really is an important chain here, so you wanna make sure that it's holding on to all the rubber bands that are on that topmost pin of your loom. And once you make sure that it's holding everything, it's safe to remove this bracelet from the loom. So I'm going to use my other hook in my kit, and using the other hook in your kit will just help you to not break any rubber bands that are on the loom. You are of course free to pull this off as you please. However, I'm very careful about how I remove things from my loom just because I really don't want to have put in all of that work and have the reason that I don't get my whole bracelet being because I decided to try and rip this off of the loom. So do it at your own risk if you would like. But I'm going to use another hook to try and do this, or you can use your fingers to try and pull these off one by one. So here's what my bracelet looks like so far. I'm really happy with how this color combo came out. I think it looks so cool, and then the back also looks really cool too. So if your bracelet is not long enough for your wrist, which even with two looms for me, this is not long enough, we are going to create an extension. So here on my two loom version, I did, let's see, 6 rubber bands for my extension. And then for this one here with the one loom, I used, I think, 14 rubber bands for this extension. So you can kind of play around with that number depending on how big or small your wrist is, but for reference, I have a pretty small adult wrist. So now we'll add on our extension, and this will be the same process whether or not you used 1 or 2 looms. So leave this bracelet here on your hook, and then we'll go ahead and grab our loom. We'll only need 1 for this portion, so I'll leave that other one to the side. Before we start, let's make sure that our loom is oriented correctly. So I have this arrow at the bottom here that says the number 1, and my pins are in a U-shaped orientation. So whether you're using 1 or 2 looms, we'll be doing the same thing. It's just if you have 1 loom for the length of your bracelet here, then you'll be doing a longer extension. So for me, I'm only gonna do 6 since I have a long portion here, but you'll probably wanna do at least 10 if you have this 1 loom version. So I'm gonna take 1 band at a time, and we're gonna make a single chain extension. All we do is make a zigzag starting at the bottom with 1 band. Taking my second band, I'll go that way, then back like this for my third. And you'll continue your zigzag down your loom however many bands that you choose. So here's what my loom looks like. Now I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees to where I have this arrow at the bottom here that now says the number 2, and my pins are in an upside down U-shaped orientation. So at wherever your bottommost pin is, that's where we'll apply this bracelet that we've made so far. So for me, it's going to be this one, but if you have a zigzag down here that ends here, then you'll apply your bracelet onto here. So we've got 2 layers of rubber bands here on our hook. I'm going to stretch this out a little and insert my finger into the same 2 layers that this hook is going through. So now I'm holding on to them like this. I'll slide this down to the bottom of my hook very carefully and use this to transfer these 2 loops onto whatever my bottommost pin is. I'm going to hold on to this still with my right hand like that, just to hold it out of the way so we can start looming. So I'm going to take my hook, go inside these top 2 layers here, which are from my finished bracelet here, and I'm going to grab the bottom layer, which is part of my single chain, and move this to the left. Then we'll go in here through the top 2 layers, hook this to the right, and if you need more help with your single chain bracelet, please check out the video link in the description box below. It is a single chain tutorial, and this should help you with making the extension. And there we go. I'm gonna grab my C-clip now. And I love the C-clips that come with this kit because they're colored, so I'm gonna use a black one for this. And to whatever your topmost pin is here, you're gonna use the C-clip to scoop up the 2 layers of rubber bands that are on this pin. So I'm using this to scoop up these 2 layers here, like that. And when you give this a tug, it should be the same 2 layers on this pin that are being pulled by your C-clip. And if it looks like that, then you can go ahead and remove this from the loom. Now to connect the 2 ends together, I'm gonna find my cap band that we added on to the beginning of this bracelet. Might be a little bit wonky. I'm gonna grab from the front of the bracelet here and pull. So I have something like this. Even out some of my rubber bands there. So now I'll take my C-clip at one end and connect it to the cap band at the other end. Like that. And here we go. This is my finished snake charmer bracelet. Thank you all so much for watching this tutorial on how to create the snake charmer bracelet. I'm so excited with how this came out, and I especially love the opposite side. This is one of those bracelets where I definitely think that the back looks just as cool as the front, especially on this one where I did the multicolor. This one I just did the one color. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe to our channel if you did. We post a new video about every week here on the Rainbow Loom channel, and we'd love for you to be a part of our Rainbow Loom community. In the description box below, you'll find our social media sites linked. This is our username here. Please tag us in your captions and put the hashtag Rainbow Loom in them as well. We'd love to see your posts, and we also love to repost your photos. Also in the description box is a link to the Duo Combo Kit, which I used in this video today, if you would like to shop it. And again, thanks so much for watching this tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you here on Rainbow Loom's channel soon. Bye!